right, here we go.
So I would really just want to sit down with Pastor Ross and you and Sam to discuss raising a child for such a time as this. In this generation that I'm a part of and the generations that are following mine, I'm 33, my husband is 32. We're expecting our first child at the end of June. And we know that God has given us this life to steward. He has spoke specific things about him to us. And but we see the world that is around us, and we see, and we know this testing challenge is raising a child, but how do we steward that life? Like, how do we allow him to be all that God has predestined him to be in at this time? And so I just really would like to sit down with somebody and discuss that. How can we do that in this generation that we're called to be bold for Christ?
So dope. Man, I love these Q&As. This is
They're precious.
salute, bro. Salute to y'all coming up with this because this is so dope. So, every generation has its challenges. Every single generation has its challenges. I want you to imagine.
Yeah.
I want you to imagine the people that decided to head west in wagons. I'm talking like covering territory that was unknown until they knew it. Every inch of it. With babies in the back. And they're thinking the same thing she's thinking. How do I raise this child in these conditions? Right? 1800s, 1900s, 2000s, 2010s. Now we're in the 2020s. They're about to have their first child. She's 33. He's 32. First child on the way. They're looking at 2023 world and thinking about the next 2 decades of raising this child in this environment, right? What is it going to be between 2023 and 2043, right? It's going to be wild. It's going to be wild. It's going to be some issues. It's going to be some craziness. You're awesome. It's going to be some good. It's going to be some bad. It's going to be some ups. It's going to be some downs. My best encouragement is we have a responsibility as believers in Jesus Christ, raising our kids to make God known to them. Here is really my mindset. I'll speak as a father. Juliet would probably say something as a mom. But as a father, to the best of my ability, I don't want to misrepresent the character of God as Father to my kids.
Yeah.
I don't want to misrepresent that character.
That's good.
I'm not batting 1,000 on that because I'm human. But to the best of my ability, I don't want to misrepresent the character of God to my kids, which means I don't want to do anything that they would turn around and be like, God is probably the same way my dad is. And therefore, I can't approach God because I can't approach my dad.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I'm trying to make sure I don't do.
Yeah.
With that said, they're going to be exposed to the world. And as parents, it's our assignment to be attuned, fully attuned to our children, to the point that we can help them navigate the vicissitudes of life. There goes a nice little juicy big word.
What does that mean?
Vicissitudes, the changes, the ebbs and flows of life. It's a beautiful word.
It's a beautiful word.
So I strongly encourage you to love that baby. Make sure you and your husband love each other. One of the greatest gifts that you could give your kids is a beautiful bond between you and your spouse. You have no idea, even at the age and stage for babies between the first 18 to 30 months, they know if they are in a house that has love.
Oh.
Yeah.
Not just for the baby,
Yeah.
but for each other.
Yeah.
There's a stableness that baby knows. There's no vibrations here. My parents, they don't know this, right, consciously, but they know there's love in this house. My parents love each other. There's not a lot of yelling here. There's not a lot of, you know what I mean? Like they intrinsically, they know the ground's not shaking. This is a stable environment. This is beautiful for me. So, and then let me give you a sweet gift that I got from my friend Matt Rosenberg, who's a Messianic Jewish rabbi. So one of the most famous scriptures in Proverbs that we always quote is, train up a child in the way they should go, and when they're old, they will not depart from it. And the way we mean that is, I'm going to do my best to train my child in godly values. That way, when they get out of my house, something would click in them and they won't go away from it. That's not what it means. That's not the Jewish interpretation of that verse. So the Jewish interpretation of that verse is, if you don't correct a novice while they're a novice, then when they grow up, they won't receive correction.
Dang.
And a novice in that particular verse is a teenager.
Yeah.
So if you don't correct your teenager and they receive the correction, then when they grow up and get older, they'll never receive correction.
Wow.
So what is the goal as parents for our children? Be heart monitors. Is the heart still soft?
That's good.
How easily do they cry? How easily do they repent and apologize? How easily can they admit that they're wrong? Do you recognize pride in your child? And do you call it out of them? Do you recognize selfishness in your child? And do you call it out of them? Do you recognize the narcissistic tendencies and call it out of them? Because let's be clear. Every child starts off as a narcissist. Every baby, every human being, let me put it that way. Every human being starts off as a narcissist. They only care about themselves. Wah! Feed me. Wah! Change me. Wah! I'm in pain and I don't know how to stop it. Wah! For no reason. Everything's about them.
Yep.
And at 18 months, 2 years, 24 months, 36 months, mine. No. Mine. No. Mine. You got to start going. I said, put it down.
Yeah.
I said, stop it. And I meant it. You got to start doing all of that. Why? You start chipping away at that narcissism and letting them know the world's bigger than you, fam. You could not, there was no way for you to know that when you first entered the world. You've been here for 48 months now. The world's bigger than you. You got a sister coming. Deal with it. You got a brother coming. Yeah. Deal with it, right? You were born into a family of 10. Deal with it, right? So that's the mindset that I have. And I hope that's helpful for her. It's a great question, though.